Guilty Gear things. By the way, for those who don't know, for those who might not have been aware, the Guilty Gear Strive official tournament will be on none other than twitch.tv/tasty_Steve. More details will be coming out later, but I just like the ring of it. Because we're going to be playing Guilty Gear and you guys are going to be able to see it on my fucking channel. Don't forget about that shit. They felt pretty guilty about those lobbies. Am I right? Oh my god, Eduardo. So, just by show of hands, man. I know they delayed the game. Boo-hoo, wah-wah. But are you guys ready? Are you guys still hyped for Guilty Gear? Like, I want to know. That's a real question, guys. Are you guys out there still hyped for Guilty Gear? Because honestly, I am. It's getting closer now. And they showed us another developer's backyard talking about some of the improvements they've made since the game isn't coming out when they initially said. Hey, look, that's okay, Otori. I will give you all the beatings you need on your way to being good. That's a part of being good, man. You got to get your ass whooped. And I will gladly give them to you. So let's get into it. First of all, we'd like to sincerely let's start from the top. Greetings to everyone reading this installment in Developer's Backyard. This is Cantano from the development team at Arc System Works. First of all, I'd like to sincerely thank everyone who took part in the open beta test for Guilty Gear Strive during February. I'm especially grateful to everyone who took time to fill out the survey. In this volume, we'll take a look at some of the data collected from the open beta test OBT survey answers. As a total from all languages, we received approximately 51,000 responses to the survey. Holy shit. Thank you everyone who took time, right? So they're talking about the characters, right? That was in the open beta. Japan, a lot of Ramlethal. Soul second, of course, because he's just fucking crazy. Kai third, fuck that character. Giovanna, because she's cool and she's still fucking crazy. Nagaryuki, just because this character's cool. Not necessarily like really good, but just really fucking cool. At least not in the beta. Soul, Ram, Kai. Damn, these are all basically the same characters. And some, like, changing order, right? North America. Now look at that. Soul. Ramlethal. I ran into fucking Super Noons Ram and I'm like, bro, this character's fucking dumb. We asked for the characters everyone played most and their favorites separately, but the answers were more or less familiar for both. Ramlethal is extremely popular in every region, it seems. Damn, the Aussie grapplers, they're probably a bunch of fucking kangaroos, bro. I can't wait to see another human so I can punch him in the face, but this Potemkin grip is gonna have to do. When we asked for characters, everyone played most of their favorites separately, but the answers were more or less similar for both. Ramlethal is extremely popular in regions, it seems. It's pretty unusual for Guilty Gear series to have new character placed highly in popularity rankings, but Giovanna is quite popular outside of Asia. The results were really interesting, especially the differences between regions. Versus mode, damn. Everybody said it was fine. Tutorial mode said it was not that. Oh, very good. So blue is very good. Okay, so about almost 20% said it was very good. Network mode, not that many people liked it. Somebody said it was very bad. Oh wow, the network mode is very bad. The online lobby, okay. The quick match, see, they didn't have a problem with that though. Training mode, pretty standard. So this is all pretty standard across the board, especially like how people felt about the online lobby here in the network mode. You can see. Tutorial mode, I didn't even know the tutorial mode was thought out enough to actually be up here, but okay. Bro, you see this sliver of people that said the training mode was very bad? Like, how? What would make a training mode very bad? And I say that in a sense, not in like, you know, how Tekken was, where it didn't like have a bunch of stuff, which in all honesty, you know, I'm not crazy proficient in training, so I might be a little biased on this one, but it probably trolls. Yeah, man. Katano, perhaps versus mode received a high rating due to the option to rematch without extra loading time. It didn't get as much playtime, however, likely due to the effects of COVID. Not from you guys, but for me, hell yeah, it did. Tutorial mode received mixed reactions. Some praised it for unique freedom it gives the player as opposed to a traditional textbook-style explanation. Others, however, pointed out that it's the lack of explanations needed for introduction to the game. Should I touch on this now? Our intent for the tutorial mode of GGST is to show... I'm going to come back to it. Our intent for the tutorial mode of GGST is to show that the player that they can enjoy fighting games without having to study. Hey, Guilty Gear guys. I like the way you're thinking. We'll have to study. We intentionally left out explanations of game mechanics and the different uses for each attack button. I'm definitely coming back to this. In our previous games, players new to the fighting game genre would need to put in some practice in order to complete the tutorial. We checked the result data and replays for the first floor of the rank tower and saw many matches where neither played neither player used special moves or every game mechanic. Although we continually worked in internal improvements following last year's closed beta, we realized that we've let everyone down. Aw. Here are some of the plans we have to fix issues. Changing to a system where players select visible area where they want to have a match. You mean like an arcade cap? After winning a match, the players stage where they are in battle ready state unless their rating changes. Continuation of it. Unless their rating changes. I guess that's fine. I don't really give a fuck about that. Adding a rematch option. Expanding the area in each lobby, adding an option to hide the news display, adding dash movement for avatars. I guess that's cool, especially hiding the news display. You don't always need that up there. And of course, sometimes somebody's chasing you down for a rematch. You want to be able to get the fuck out of there. You better want to run. This will make lobbies more like those in our other games. However, systems such as moving floors when your ratings change and the option to enter training mode while waiting for a match will remain. That's fucking cool. We would like to conduct another beta test once these fixes are ready. Although the training mode was praised for the number of options available, players are noted that the menu was difficult to understand. Really? I don't even use training mode. It wasn't that difficult, but somebody came in and gave me the walkthrough, so maybe I could be just a little short-sighted on that. We're looking into ways to improve visibility of the menus for all modes. I can see, I get it though. I completely understand that because it was definitely like a lot of sub-menu stuff, right? A lot of other fighting games, they do it by using like the shoulder buttons to navigate, so who knows. Character visuals, please rate the following aspects. Character visuals. Bro, really? There's a red? Somebody didn't like the character visuals? What was it? I wish they showed the one. If it was like a very small percentage of red, I really wish they showed what this person said. You know what I don't like? I don't like Soul's bad guy's hair. Character animations. Who? What is what? What game, what 2D game you've played? Like, I'm being 100% fucking honest. 100% fucking honest. What 2D game you've played outside of the Guilty Gear series that constantly pushes character animations like this? So I want to know who this fucking red guy is. You sliver of reds out there, you thumb down music song, and you know what? Let me stop. Stage graphics. Who? Why is there red? What is wrong with any of the stages? Round start, win screen versus. You know, I could see some red here, right? Because there might be some older players in here like, yo, where are my special intros, bro? Make me look at the win screen, man. Why are fighting games not do that? Make people look at the win screen, bro. And just give them the old Street Fighter option of either making it go faster or make it so it's an okay thing, right? Like, make it so you can skip the win stuff, right? Like the in-between round stuff by pressing start. Like if both people press start, like let's just say I'm playing range, right? And we're playing in person and the match starts. This is what they should do, by the way. If I worked for a gaming company, this is what I would tell them to do in this instance, especially for Guilty Gear. This is specifically for Guilty Gear, so you know how I can apply these ideas across the board. If you got some video game friends that need somebody for shit like this, hit me up. Anyways, this is what I would do. I would make it so, let's just say theoretically, right? I'm playing Range in a real life scenario post-COVID times. Range's hair is smelling good. He's playing Zato. He's complaining. I'm like, man, I can't believe fucking Leo's so cool, right? And when we start the match, they have a special intro, right? But you can only skip the special intro if both players hit start, right? So or a button. So if I'm mashing, right? Obviously, it gives the okay to skip the intro. If it's a special intro, which should be a game, special intro, right? If Range doesn't hit start, or vice versa, where he hits start and I don't, it should play all the way out. It should always play all the way out. And in between, when you see the win animations and poses and stuff, it should be the exact same. And you should have an option to where, like, let's just say I went, same scenario again. We get to the end of the first round, and Range is like, all right, man, let's fucking hurry up through this, right? Like, and I'm like, no, I actually want to see it. So they just make it go a little bit faster. But if both of us hit it, right? Like both of us hit like X or a button or whatever the case, it speeds up. But if both of us hit start, then it just goes to the next round, right? But I'm telling you right now, if it's me, we're looking at all of that shit. So anyways, that's just my little spiel about that. Visual direction of the camera movement. What people don't like the camera movement is probably because of the glass break thing, right? The wall break corner shit. Battle effects. Yeah, visual direction of the camera movement. I could see people not liking, the corner break shit, right? There's still a bunch of orange in there that I'm just like, I get it. It's cool, guys. Battle effects. What battle effects? Does that count as the screen? Like the counter? Does that count? Battle system? I think the system was overall fine, though. The counter hit zoom is bad. I love the counter hit zoom. And you're entitled to your own opinion, but I love that shit. I love the counter hit zone. I like that big ass font when you counter. I want you to believe in that shit. I want you to think about it later on, right? Like I want to hit you with a counter and you be in the fucking car and you just like, motherfucker. That's what I want. It drops inputs and your combos. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. The counter may be the reason that you drop those combos, but it's not because it's bad. It's because you're not used to it. It's a new thing. It's not bad because you're not used to it. You're just not used to it. And if you don't like it, just say you don't like it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I completely understand people being like, well, I think it's bad for this reason. But honestly, I feel like it's cosmetic, right? Like it changes your focus on certain things, right? And I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. If you've ever played Guilty Gear, it literally screams counter when you hit people, right? So it's still to me, it's still the same thing. You're still getting the same, like, hey, this is a big ass counter. It's still in the presentation of the game, right? So if you don't like that part of the presentation, you're entitled to your own opinion. But me personally, I really like it. I really like it. When you're in the zone, you won't care about that stuff on the screen anyway. Thank you, Tough. It's for the audience, not the player. Look, as a person who plays fighting games, I am the audience and the player at the same time. I'm the audience and the player. Like, and Eris has told me this is one of the reasons I'm bad at fighting games. He was like, man, you're bad at fighting games because you're paying attention to all the other shit in the background, like the music and moving shit. He literally told me this. It definitely can be both tough. You know, I'm just agreeing with you. Battle system, I don't even know what, like, was it the RCs? Like, what did you not like? And it could be a lot of people trying this game for the first time, right? But once again, I feel like stuff like this, although it can be refined, right? I'm not saying this shit was perfect out of the box doing a goddamn beta. I'm saying that they can definitely refine a bunch of this stuff. And this isn't, you know, trying to discredit anybody who had their little red slivers, the random YouTube comment guy and fucking person who's never played Guilty Gear, or, you know, influencer that's just trying to get some fucking thumbs up on their video. I'm pretty sure there's some legitimate claim to some of this. Like my friend here who says it actually kind of like messes him up. I completely get that. But for me, it's not that big a deal. Background music, I fucking love it. You red slivers, I hear you. Sound effects, come on, bro. How is it? Is there a bad sound effect? What? Are there bad sound effects? What? Voices. There's people who don't like the voices. Excuse me? They're talking about the voices in the songs, probably. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Giltos. I'm telling y'all right now. This is why I don't talk about these things to other people. This is why I don't do it. Because if I talk to them how I see, and I understand it could be just the fact that I'm a little short-sighted on it, but I want to understand their grievances, right? And I really hope that any grievance that anybody has, not only with Guilty Gear, but with any game, that they can articulate an argument behind it. And not only articulate an argument, but kind of understand it, or at least work to understand it, right? I'm not telling you to be fucking Sigmund Freud with your goddamn analysis of something that bothers you, or to go see a fucking therapist just because you don't like, you know, a big-ass counter hit or anything like that. But have some reason to your rhyme, right? Like, don't just have it out there, right? Now, because I want to come back and touch on this. I want to come back and touch on the move explanation thing, but I guess it's probably better to do it now. So I'm going to do it right now. And this is going to go kind of get close to my hot take. Tasty Steve's hot take, right? So it says tutorial mode received mixed reactions. Some praised it for the unique freedom it gives the player as opposed to the traditional textbook style explanation. Others, however, pointed out that its lack of explanations needed for an introduction to the game. Our intent for the tutorial mode in GGST is to show the player that they can enjoy fighting games without having to study. We intentionally left out explanations of the game mechanics and the different uses for attack button. That's godlike. I love the fact that they don't tell you how everything works. I like a bunch of games that don't tell you how everything works. Now, if you saw me play even adventure games, you know that I don't want your help. Like, unless I explicitly ask, I don't want your help. So I am definitely the last person I should say, I don't really care about them not having how to use each and every fucking move in the move list in the game and how to apply it. I don't care. And actually, I don't want you to do it, because I feel like one of the issues that I have with a lot of games now is the fact that they put all this information into the game and it shortens the lifespan of the game. It actually shortens the life, in my personal opinion. In my opinion, it shortens the lifespan of the game. The fact that you have the game detailing and breaking down every use of every minute detail of like, you want to use this button as a specific anti-air when they're jumping in from this angle, because if you do it here, then you get this. Like, I hate that shit because it takes away the fun aspect of learning how to play the game. It makes you such a stricter judge on yourself about how you play the game if you're not doing this one thing right? If you're not using this move like this, then obviously you're doing something wrong, right? But I feel like it's a better way to teach people to play fighting games, or a lot of things in general, is to give them that first-hand experience. Now, I know that there's people out there that learn fighting games by instantly saying like, hey man, I thought rolls look cool. I'm gonna go look at Sajam's tutorial about how to play fucking rolls in 5 minutes, and now I know everything because Sajam told me. I personally am not a fan of that. Like, I like that people share their opinions about the game, which Sajam is doing, and the fact that there's a bunch of other people to do it. This is not like an exclusive thing. A bunch of people do it where they make tutorials. Brian F do it. Fucking Nephew does it. We have people that do it in Tekken, King J. All of these people do it, right? And they do it, and it's a lot of different ways where you can do it, right? And one of my personal favorites is the way the King J does it, right? The way the King J does it is that he invites people on, and they're a character specialist. So they give him their thoughts, right? And it's kind of like you're comparing ideas to understand something. Now, that doesn't take away from the fact that the developers might have a very specific plan for those characters, right? But me personally, I am not a fan, and I mean that. I am not a fan of move list giving me a detailed run out, a fucking report card of how I'm supposed to use moves, because it means that I'm spending less time with this game that I'm having fun with. Like, I don't want to be taught. I don't want to be taught the game. I want to learn the game. Right? And I think that's the difference, that a lot of people aren't they're not putting something in between it. Like, there's a difference between being taught a game and learning a game. And learning, and that's not like mutually exclusive, saying that you can't go learn from somebody else. I'm not saying that. That's why teachers exist. But for me, my epitome of learning a game is to go in and fucking hit buttons. I'm going to go in, like, literally, the first time I played Guilty Gear, me and my boy Rob, we literally went to training mode and was like, all right, we don't need to do this. Let's fight each other. Like, let's literally take whatever character we like, go into versus mode, and just fight. And that is me, and that's coming from playing Street Fighter 3, that's coming from playing Tekken, that's coming from playing Dead or Alive, that's coming from playing Virtua Fighter. So I have all these clashing ideas about fighting games in my head, and even knowing that, I go into a brand new game, I go straight into fucking versus mode, and I hit fucking buttons. So when people complain, right, and they have their grievances with the tutorial mode not doing enough, I really think that's subjective, because being taught and learning something is different. Learning is something that I feel like you can do with the help of somebody else, or with like a tutorial, right? But I feel like it's too easy now, and I feel like it's expected of games, fighting games in particular, because that's what we're talking about, to kind of like hand you this information so you could just apply it the way that you want to, right? And I think that when that happens, and I can go further into this, and I'm definitely going on a little rant. I'm going on a little rant, guys, so bear with me. Yeah, somebody said it's the old man blood. No, look, all I'm saying is that, like, I didn't, like, and this is definitely old man Steve, old fighting game Steve. I learned how to play fighting games in the arcade Steve. Like, people beat my ass, and then they gave me nuggets of information. They didn't tell me like, oh man, let me go show you this YouTube video and show you how to break down the matchup. You don't get that shit. You got to spend a quarter. Yo, shout outs to Majin Obama. Remember when I was doing that Evo commentary, Japan Evo commentary for Guilty Gear? And Obama said the weight of the quarter. Now, I'm not going to stretch this to, out of context to put Obama saying like he agrees with me or some shit like that. But I am a fan of the weight of the quarter. And I want the weight of the quarter to extend past a fucking arcade. I want it to extend in these online situations. I want people to know the stakes of playing in these fighting games, right? And it's not like saying like your life got to be on the line, or they holding your family hostage or some shit. But I want people to be confident in the choices that they make when they play these games. And this also goes to me into like tier list. Because personally, I feel like tier lists are they're way too subjective. They're subjective to the person who made them, as well as the person who plays the character, as well as the shortcomings of whoever the fuck is playing, right? So even if you get a fucking tier list from Nee, fucking Arslan Ash, fucking Machabo, fucking Nemo, fucking Justin Wong, like, for me personally, I feel like it's all subjective, because I feel like it comes from the idea that you are that person and you're not that player. You're not the same person that is looking at it that way. The whole point is to learn that, and you're not going to learn it. Sometimes you're not going to learn it how that person learned it. You're not going to learn it how Nee learned it, you know? You're not going to learn it how Save Jam learned it. You're not going to learn it how Justin Wong learned it. You're not going to learn how IFC Yipes learned it, you know? And that is also, and that, without saying, that is also a sign of the times, because now games are made like that, right? Games are made to be like, well, hey, look, we know that there's a lot of people playing it, and there's a competitive side to this, so we want to give more information. And I completely understand that. I understand that in today's age, the fighting games are taking a lot more seriously, and I ain't gonna say more seriously, but like serious to the point where people want to know so much about the system that they can exploit it and take advantage of it to the most minute detail, right? To the most minute detail. If I'm fighting fucking Nerd Josh, of course I want to know I want to know what frame does what. I want to know, like, but I don't want that to be force fed to me, because part of learning how to play the game is dealing with those situations, and the timing and the precision that comes with understanding that is not something that can just be handed to you. You have to learn that by playing fighting games. So a lot of people always come to me and talk about like tier lists, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if I had one of my homies from St. Louis in the chat, I've literally felt this way since I've been 16 years old. Since I've been 16 years old, I had no problem getting my ass whooped playing games, because it's fun to me. It's fun playing fighting games. The thrill of victory feels so much better when I know that I personally arrived to it on my own accord. Now, I can't speak for the entire world. I can't speak for every fighting game player. But for me, part of my success and my fun of playing any fighting game is knowing that I did it myself. I'm presented the materials and then I made my own way. Now that my own way could be the wrong way, but that just means the person that I'm fighting is not educated enough themselves to understand that. And that doesn't mean that it's inherently bad, because you can play perfect and still lose matches. People don't want to talk about it, but you can play perfect in fighting games and still lose matches to somebody playing stupid. I've been there on both sides. I've been playing like a fucking genius. I'm like, bro, I'm fucking Albert Einstein in this game. There's no way why would you do that? Why would you do that? It's like that fucking meme. I'm Albert Einstein. I know every situation that's gonna happen. So if you do this here, you're gonna be stupid because I'm gonna kill you. So I'm not even gonna prepare for it. I'm gonna assume that you're smarter than that and move on. And when they do it, you're like, why did you do that? Are you fucking stupid? You know that I know exactly how to punish that. You did it anyway. That's a part of it. And I feel like that's also part of the takeaway that you get from learning a fighting game in depth by not being handed this information. And I say handed because that's how I feel about it. I feel like when you get in the instance of if I go into a Guilty Gear move list and they say standing slash with chip is used this way, I'm gonna be like, fucking whack. That's just how I'm like, that's fucking stupid. I don't want to be taught the game. I want to learn how to play the game. I want to learn. I would actually like to hear advice about how to download opponents faster. So I think I can tell you, I'll give you some very short advice about how to download opponents faster, right? To download any player, you're going to need to know whatever character they're playing. You're going to need to know their options, right? You need to know their options. So if you're fighting, let's just say Nash, right? If you're fighting Nash, you're like, all right, well, he's using V skill 1, so that means he absorbs fireballs, right? So if I'm Ryu, I'm instantly aware of that. I'm like, well, he has this tool that he can use to do that, right? And he's like, all right, well, if he doesn't have many anti-airs, he has to be a little finicky with the anti-airs, but if he has bar, that EX Scythe is a lot more consistent. So now, once someone gets, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to apply that. It's not like downloading people faster. It's about knowing the options of what's happening on the screen. And I say what's happening on the screen because that doesn't only include the character. It includes the positioning. It includes life. It includes how much meter this person might have. It might include position on the stage, right? So I feel like when it comes to like downloading people faster, you need to know more about the people that you're fighting. And of course, that can come from a tutorial, right? You can go and play a tutorial and learn how to deal with Ryu versus fucking Nash, right? But when are you playing the game? Like, I feel like people are so quick to want to learn to play the game at a high level, to compete, that they kind of skip over the learning phases, the learning part of the game. Bro, this shit keeps closing on me. I'm getting so tight. No, Yamato, you said I'm more of a Tekken player, but I can still apply that because that's fighting games. There is no fighting game where that is not applicable. You're literally better at fighting games because you understand that. If you understand that it's not just about learning, it's not about being taught, right? Because I can tell you what to do. I can tell you to be like, yeah, Nash has crouching medium punch is a decent anti-air, standing medium kick is a decent anti-air, standing heavy kick is a good anti-air, and if they jump at you and you got meter, you can use EX Scythe. But do you know how to apply that outside of me just saying it? If you have a little experience, yeah, but even if you do have a little experience, you're not just gonna instantly understand, you're not gonna instantly know the timing, the spacing for every one of those buttons to hit. It doesn't work like that, right? It does not work like that. Now, I will say, and I can attest to this, that once you've been playing fighting games, for me, I'm just gonna say years, you do get the theory fighter ability. The theory fighter ability is one of the most godlike fighting game level up ever, right? Because that means you can see something and you can apply it at least a little bit, right? You can at least say, I can see where that's useful. I need to go and mess with that myself. You can do that, and that's also a part of fighting games. And I'm gonna say this right now before I move on, right? And I can definitely talk about this more at length at another time. But either way, that's just personally how I feel, man. I know a lot of people learn fighting games from like other people, from your Say Jams and your guides from G-Una and fucking whoever it is. And I'm not like knocking any of those people, but personally, I'm not a fan of them. I'm not a fan of. Like, give me a tutorial in game, but don't fucking give me the entire blueprint of how to play a character. Because at that point, I'm not playing a character. That's a flowchart. Like, I don't want a fucking, like, I don't want the map. I want to figure it out myself. And that could definitely be just a thing that I like. And it could just be how I learned. But personally, like, that's just how I feel about it. I feel like you don't need all the moves to be detailed. Why? When are you playing if I tell you what to do, when did you play the game? When did you learn how to play the game? You didn't learn anything, I just told it to you. No, Yamato, there's everything fun about discovering your character. There's everything fun about discovering your character. When people, like, and once again, I'm gonna go a little further with this. In Tekken, right? When people are like, man, dude, like, I think it sucks that, like, there's no this and there's no that. I'm like, bro, there's people better than you that learned with less. And not saying that's the smartest thing to do. I'm not saying that's the optimal way to learn. I'm not. I'm 100% not saying. I'm not saying that it's the optimal way to learn. I'm saying that this is the best way, the only way to learn, and that, like, this is one of the major shortcomings of this game. I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that. And this could be, once again, I will definitely go back to this being old, man. I spent money in the arcade. I don't think there's not many people that has started playing fighting games and like Street Fighter 4 that has spent more money than the people playing fighting games before it. Especially if they were raised in an arcade. That's not a slight, and I could be wrong. I would love the figures on it, but I would love to know how much money I've spent on games in my lifetime compared to now, not including DLC, to get experience in the game. Because that's why I use the reference of Majin Obama saying the weight of the quarter, the weight of the coin, the weight of the token, because those people learned that not because somebody gave it to them. They talked about that. They learned, they built that up. Like, that's not something that you can just get by watching a fucking video. It's not gonna instantly click. And I know people aren't saying that. I know people are not saying that. I'm just saying that personally, the argument that's being made, there should be a side for people who don't really mind, right? Like, your game isn't trash just because you don't have an explanation of how to use every move for every character in the game. Give me a tutorial. Hell yeah, give me a tutorial. But you know what I want my tutorial to do? I'll give you my dream training mode tutorial, right? Personally, people talked about like the frame data for Tekken where you could and couldn't move. I actually really like that, because knowing when I can move around and stuff like that, and once again, I know that's extremely specific and personal to me, but I like stuff like that because it's simple enough to still give me some room to discover more for myself, right? Because it won't only apply to that one instance. I can be like, well, damn, if it worked, if this move gives me this, now I'm going to go try this move, right? I'm going to go try this move. You see what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? Like, if fucking I'm playing Tekken with MYK, right? And this has happened. This happened just the other day, right? I was playing Tekken and I was like, now I'm not like a fucking Tekken genius or no shit like that. But like, if I see something that I don't understand, I can literally say like, hey man, what is that? And that's like a 3-level answer. Or he could tell me the input. He could tell me the punish. He could tell me how fast it is. He can go on a full character breakdown, right? But if he says certain things to me, my collected knowledge over the years is literally just gonna be like, oh yeah, it's that, right? Like, oh no, it's not that, Steve. It's actually this. I feel like when you build up this scenario of giving information, like I feel like it closes the room for discovery. It closes the door for discovery. Because everybody thinks they know everything. It's like, well, the game told me. If the game told me, you know what I'm saying, who the fuck are you? And then you get people, and I've seen this, and you can apply it to whoever you want. You can apply it to whoever you want, who say like, hey man, this shit don't work the way it's supposed to. I'm like, why would you think it's supposed to work that way? What if that was not the way it intended? It's like, well, the hitbox and then the frames, then it should. And like, I completely understand math-wise why that should work. But sometimes I also feel like that goes into the design of the character. In some instances, it is a fuck up. It is 100%, but sometimes I feel like some of the shortcomings come from them understanding that they don't want a character to have a certain attribute, or they don't want that character to have that certain thing. I'll give you another example. Dragon Ball FighterZ. Dragon Ball FighterZ has a very simple system of super dashes. Everybody has Ki Blast. Everybody has Reflect, right? Right. Until they started releasing more characters, right? More characters, they started to get deviants of the normal basic things in the game that every character had, like Reflect, right? Certain characters don't have a Reflect. Certain characters don't have a Super Dash. Those are things that make you play and learn the game better, right? Because some people are so stuck on the fact that you're using one tool this way or one tool that way because it's perceived that way, that when you take it away, the minute you have to deal with not having it, you're like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And then you're frustrated because you can't learn. You're not learning. You're like, well, look, that's not what was told to me, right? You're like, anyways, that's a deep hole to go down. And I have no problem discussing this with anybody, but personally, I think people are being a little sharp with the fact that not only Guilty Gear or most game like training modes, like what they expect from the training mode is different than what I expect, I should say. What people expect from modern day training mode to me is completely different, and that's based off of the fact that yeah, it probably is more so based off the fact that I come from an arcade area, right? See, look at this. Michael Crispin, Tasty Steve. I just got into Guilty Gear and I was told not to play Eno because she's hard, but she's mad fun. So what happens, right? You say, well, look, yeah, man, you should go play a character like Soul. And you go play in Soul. You're like, man, this character fucking boring. This is whack. I don't want to play this character. And then you stop playing the game. Who won? Who wins? Is the game bad because you had to go, not you had to, but you played another character? You know what I'm saying? No. Does it mean the game is bad because you can't play the character right off the bat? No. Does it mean the game is bad because they didn't say, well, you want to do a vertical chemical love and FRC it, but you still got to jump install? Let me break that down for you. Let me give you your Happy Meal. That's what I'm going to call that shit. The Happy Meal of fighting games. Oh, you want to know how to do this input and I'm going to show you every frame on it? Here's your Happy Meal. Your FGC Happy Meal. That's what I'm going to call that shit. Yo, MYK, I'm calling that shit the FGC Happy Meal. Bro, all you got to do is go on YouTube and look for the FGC Happy Meal, bro. And it comes with a toy and everything. You get to hear one of your favorite influencers talk about it. They're going to make you feel good for listening to them. You're going to feel like a smarter player when you go to a tournament. Everybody wins. Done and done. Fuck that and fuck you. I'm not doing that shit. You can keep that shit. I don't want it. If you love a character enough, you're going to put the time in to learn that motherfucking character. MYK, tell them.